Well, alright, alright, alright. Welcome to another one about my Stumps World of Tanks Xbox One videos. This is my Tier 8 garage video. People have been asking for it, people have been waiting for it, and I am going to make the community happy. Really, no one's really been asking, only a couple people, so, I'm not that popular, so don't worry about it, but hey, I've done tiers 1 through 7, so we're going to go on to tier 8. We're going to get it done quickly. Yeah, right. But we're going to get right into it. The Brazil, this is not a bad tank. I think it's one of the best looking light tanks in the game. The color scheme's awesome. I could do without the Brazil and the snake logo there. But other than that, the colors are really cool in this tank. It's not a bad light. I'm just not a light tank person. And the ammo whole deal with having heat for a second and high explosive for your regular ammo kind of trolls you a little bit, but you just need to be smart. Use the heat rounds as much as possible when you think you can't pen, and then when you know you can get something, switch back. And it reloads quick enough, switch back to the high explosive and put stuff right up the ass of tanks and do 300, 350 damage per shot. Not always, but you know how World of Tanks works. But it's quick enough. It's fast enough. It's basically the old Chaffee for the most part with a pretty cool gun. But not a great tank. But it was when they first come out with the Americans, the higher American light tanks, and I don't really play light tanks, and I was like, I'm gonna try to start. This is the one I really started with, and I've had some okay games in it. I've used the XP out of it I don't know, 1 or 2 times. I'll get up to 30,000 or something. I need a little bit of extra XP for something, and so it's done good for that. As you can see, the crew has 1 skill. This is the crew that came with it, Orson Ball. So, I don't play it a lot. Not a ton of games in it, but that's just because I'm not a light tank person. It really isn't bad. People give it a bad rep, but it's really not a bad tank. The Purging. I've had the Purging since gosh knows forever. I like this tank, and I've kept it. You'll see that the crew in it is pretty mediocre. A lot of times, the crew in this tank eventually went to the M46 or 48 patent, one or the other. I think I went to the M46, and then when I got the M48, I took a crew out of my Super Pershing, I think, because it had so many skills, or I can't remember, it's so long ago. Good tank, though. You'd see there's no equipment on this. That's because I don't play it enough, but I've kept it because I like it. It really, the turret controls sometimes and bounce quite a few shots, and so it makes it fun. It's quick enough, but not overly quick, but it's quick enough. So I like it, and I've kept it. That's the bottom line because Bump said so. Freedom and Super Pershing. Pretty much whatever I say for this tank goes for this tank. So yeah, you'll notice I have the vents and gun lay and drive. I believe that's gun lay and drive, right? Right. Is that the gun lay and drive, or is that the other one? What is it? Gun rammer, okay. I always get the two mixed up looking at the picture. That's just because I'm dumb. Plumb dumb, man, plumb dumb. And I could have seen it right there. I don't. Medium tank gun rammer. So yeah, but I've taken the gun lane drive off both of them because I needed money for other tanks, and that's what I end up doing. Because my tank collection at 111, it costs a lot of silver to keep these tanks, a lot of gold too for a lot of them. So, but yeah, you'll see the premium, the consumables are the same. I keep the small meat, the small everything on most of my tanks, and we got vents in, and the medium tank gun rammer on both of them. Both of these are pretty cool tanks. I like them. Quick story. I know these videos are too long, but we'll make a quick story anyways. I was in a game the other day, which I don't play this that often, but I'm in a game the other day, and some kid's on mic. He's like, wow, you got 3 marks of excellence on that. That's awesome, dude. And yeah, I let him, ramble on about it for about a minute before I said, no, that's just the paint scheme on this kid. I was like, yeah, it is. It's a hard job getting 3 marks of excellence, but you keep working at it, and And then I was like, nah, dude, seriously, just so you know, it's just the paint job on this. It's the only tank that comes with 3 marks of excellence already on the barrel. Which I don't understand. When you get the marks of excellence, I believe on this, they're white, and they blend right in, so it's like, But anyways, just a kind of stupid, funny story, but hey, I have plenty of time to tell it, right? But the color scheme on this, I think, is still an awesome-looking tank. And they put the flag back on it. It was gone for a while. The flag doesn't look as good as it used to. It looks a little mediocre now. Yeah. But anyways, someone on the forums the other day was talking about how he got the T-2064 Super Pershing and he wanted his gold back. And dude, if you want your gold back with this tank, you're not playing it right, because you can make killer silver with it. Just need to learn how to play it. Don't let him hit the booby tubes on the top. Don't just sit there like this looking at him. Oh, my armor's going to bounce everything. Because it's not. You just sit there and everyone's going to aim for them booby tubes. Boom, 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 and you're going to die. So keep the turret wiggling, move back and forth, come out, take your shot, back up. Don't be afraid to use premium, and you'll have a fun time in the tank. Good tank. T69. As you can see, no equipment in it. That's because I don't ever play it. I like this tank. Obviously, if I've kept it, I've liked it. If you don't see a tank here, it doesn't mean I haven't played it. It just means I don't like it. The gun trolled me at times and ticked me off at times. Shots that should pen, missed by 4 feet. Trying to shoot into the side of something and it bounced off. Trax ate it, but that's every tank now. I mean, I am so frustrated with getting top tier tanks. I'll be in a top tier, like, how about a tier 9 Awful Waffle Jr. Has 280, 290, whatever it is, penetration. And I'll shoot one of these right above the track right there, and somehow it'll go a little low, and the tracks will eat it and no damage. I don't care. The side of this tank only has 40 millimeters of armor, or what does it have? 76 millimeters of armor. Okay? The tracks can't be more than 40 or 50 millimeters, so what's that equal? 130, 140, 150 at the most. If I hit that with a 250 millimeters of penetration, it should go right through them tracks, break the track, and right into the side of that tank. But, it doesn't always happen. But that's with every tank. It really frustrated me that when I played this, I remember thinking, Jesus, why aren't these shells going through the side of this tank? But it's every tank. It's World of Tanks console version. It's just, the mercy rolls in this game are pathetic. So, but yeah, I've kept it because it can be a fun tank. I don't play it that often, as you can see. I still have an okay crew, not a good crew, but still have some skills on it. As you can see, I have safe storage, because it will get ammo racked. And when I had equipment on it, I think I had wet ammo rack, or my back with safe storage, whichever way they go. I had it on the equipment, so because it does get ammo rack. So, but still keepable tank. T95 E2, I had people say, hey, where'd you get that? People that are newer to the game. That's like, you can't get it, buddy. Not right now. Hopefully, World of Tanks doesn't release it again. I know they will eventually, but it's nice to have a tank that not many people have. I mean, I know there's a few people that have it, but still. This tank I wish was a little bit quicker. The torque of it is not good. The top speed is okay, but I was hoping when I bought it, it was like faster than... I was hoping... The gun is a lot like the Super Pershing. So, excuse me, you got a little bit more slanted armor, but the armor's not quite as good, but it controls sometimes, and you just want a little bit more speed out of it. And the top speed is better than the Super Pershing, quite a bit better, but it's still sluggish to get there. And that kind of hurts when you're, kind of dogfighting, you want to circle something or anything else. But it's nice to have a tank that not many people have. I think it's a pretty cool looking tank with a gun like that, with the suppressor on the front. Yeah, it's a cool tank. T-34. Yeah. I've had this, I think this was the second premium tank I purchased at Tier 8. And it's a beast at times, and it's just trash at times. I don't remember what the score was, but my son asked me what Tier 8 premium should he buy, because he was going to finally invest in the Tier 8 premium. And he mentioned this. I said, that's one you want to stay away from. Don't buy that. And of course he bought it. And then he had like a killer game. I'd have to go back to ask him again, but I think he did like 6,500 damage or something. He had like and that's not, you see bigger tanks have games like that all the time. And maybe people have 6,500 damage games all the time in this tank. I never did. Because the reload was so slow and everything else. It just seemed like you couldn't get that many shells out. I don't know what he did. But he showed me the screenshot. I should go find it and post it here, but I'm too lazy to do that. But he had a really good game in it, and he's like, geez, you told me not to buy it. And I'm like, yeah, you won't have many of those. It's alright. It's just the turret traverse and the tank traverse is just so freaking slow. I also pointed out, I said, if you want that tank without buying gold, just go up the T30 line. Just go up the E4 line, because you'll get the T30, and the T30, I believe, with the second gun, is this tank. It's no different. And you don't have to pay gold for it, you know, so. But anyways, he bought it. He likes it, I guess. Although I haven't seen him play it very much lately. Although he doesn't play the game too awful much anyway, so. But, it can have its games. You can say that about any tank, though. But it's nice if you get in a tier 8 game and you're, you know, putting out 300 and, what's the damage? 3 to 500, you know, you're putting out 360, 380, 420. And before the Russians came along and had, you know, all them really big guns, this was a pretty big gun at tier 8. So nowadays it's not so big, it's not so impressive. But back then, when you shelled out, you know, 550 damage, it was like, yeah, baby. But not so much anymore, but still, it is what it is. And I do take it out on occasion. You see I still have equipment on it because I do use it once in a while, but not too often. T32 gets a bad rep from all kinds of people. All kinds of people don't know how to play the T32. T32, good tank. Anyone that says it's not a good tank just needs to play it, needs to learn how to play it better. And I'm not great at it, but I've had some really good games in it. And they're fun games because the tank is capable of doing a lot. So, yeah, you know, it's almost like the T29 to a point. You don't want to put your hull out there too often, and your turret's not quite as good because you're facing bigger tanks. But you know, get in there, get your shot. It's not a tank that you front line heavy with it and just sit there like a, you know, an E100 or something. Just sit there and boom, 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 and hope everything bounces off you. You can't play it like that. It's going to die if you play it like that. So play smart and you'll have fun in it. And you notice I keep the gun rammer, the gun lane drive, and Vens in it because I still use this tank. I got a decent crew in it. Not great, but you know, considering I've taken the crew out of this and moved them up the heavy line, this is probably the third crew that's been in here. It's a pretty good crew. So yeah, I like the tank and I'll be keeping it because it's always worked okay for me. I mean, I have my moments when I get ticked off at it, but overall it's always worked. And I like it, so on anyone that doesn't. That's my 7-year-old coming out with me, I guess. You can probably hear kids. The old lady watches kids during the day, so they're out there screaming. So if you can hear them in the background, I apologize, but I've been trying to get this video done for 2 months, and I can never seem to get 20 or 30 minutes quiet around here. And, you know, I just finally said, screw it, I'm going to do it. T28 prototype. I've kept it because I don't play it often, but it can pack a punch, and it's got a turret. I'm not good with non-turreted tank destroyers. I really am not good with them. So a little bit better in this than I was the T28, which I got rid of because I think the T28 was absolute trash. And as a lot of the big American guns, the accuracy isn't there, so the gun can troll you, and not control you, can troll you. And furthermore, if anyone sets this at the front and they say, I can't pen it, you see the machine gun port? Easily penetrable. You see either side of the gun mantlet, the triangle area, flat spot, guaranteed pen almost any shot. So there's a little bit of info for you people out there that have a hard time with this tank. It's a better tank to sit back and snipe, but just expect a lot of your shells to miss their target. You notice there's no equipment on it, that's because I don't play it. It just sits there. I haven't played this for well over a year, and I probably should just sell it, but you know, there might be some day when I want to take it out, so there it sits. Centurion 1, I just got done with this tank. I get antsy, and I played this tank right straight up through, outside of, I think if I remember correctly, I think skipped the first package to get to the second package, which was the Top Gun. And I played the whole second package. I never, right till I think 7,000 at the end. And I get that way. I mean, Wargaming knows what they're doing with people like me. I think I had 7,000 XP left before I get the 7-1. And yesterday, or the day before, I said, screw it. 7,000 is nothing. Just use 7,000 free XP. to get by it. So, but I did get my first mark of excellence on it just the other day, and it's a good tank. It's a keeper. I have no equipment on it because I just took the equipment off because I wanted to buy the 7-1, and I didn't want to have... I have something about having... If I don't have over 1 million silver there, it bugs me. So, you know, there it sits. I have my silver, and I could put this stuff back on this, but I figured I took the crew out, moved the crew up to the 7-1, so I don't have a crew in it right now, and there's no sense of keeping equipment on it if I don't have a crew in it, so it's just going to sit there. But I won't sell it. It's a decent tank. You can have some really good games in this tank. So, not the most powerful tank, not the most alpha damage, but sort of like the rest of the British tanks, just enough of everything to make it a decent tank. Speaking of that formula, we're on to the Caernarvon. And you can see there's no equipment or anything on it because I haven't played this for ages. However, I had a lot of really good games in this tank. And I will keep it because I think if you play this thing smart, you can have some really good games in it. You play it sort of like you do the Centurion 1. I mean, you got a slight bit more armor than the Centurion 1, but play it pretty much the same, and you'll have good games in it. You know, come out, peek out, put a few shots into something that's concentrated on something else. You sit there and boom, 2, 3, 4, boom, 2, 3, 4, boom, and you know, you can lay down. You put the shells into stuff, and only 200 a pop, 210, 220, 190. But it adds up after a while, and you can have really good games in this tank. So it will sit in my garage until I decide to play it again. It's a keeper for me. AT-15. I hate the AT-15. Quick story: I was in a game today with a couple idiots, and we're on Caernarvon, and there's only one tank on our team holding the center little island there, and I'm helping him out from behind, sniping in this tank. It was a tier 9. Might even have been a tier 10 game. I'd have to go back and look. But I'm helping him out in the center. And I have this guy. Most of my team went to the right of me. There was probably 7 or 8 tanks over there on my team. So I figured, well, there's only him in the middle holding off 3 tanks in the middle. I'm going to help him out. Help him with cover. When they come out to shoot him, I'm going to put one into him. Let them know that someone else is shooting him besides him. 3 minutes or so into the game, I have some guy, Tin Can Sailor is his name online, start bitching at me about how I don't know how to play this tank. AT should be right at the front. It's made to bust through stuff and blah, 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 blah. And it's impenetrable from the front. You got a tank that's pretty much impenetrable from the front. Buddy, the cupola is huge. The gun port on the right is penetrable by, I don't know, 60 or 70 millimeters of gun. Any tier 9 or 10 is going to go through that gun port. Any tier 8, if they hit that gun port where it's a big target, it goes through. This guy, he's in the game saying, I've had that tank, I played all kinds of games in that tank, and I know how to play it, and you're just not playing it. And I just shut my mouth. I simply stated my point. I said I was helping the guy out in the center. I can't help that the 7 or 8 of you that went to the right all died in the first 3 minutes. That's not my fault. You know, they go up there, and he's in a VK 4502A trying to front line a 4502A. And it's like, dude, we're in a tier 9 match. You're not going to last in that thing. So, of course, he only lasted 3 minutes or whatever. And then he starts bitching that I wasn't up there helping him. But if I hadn't kept the guys in the center from killing the IS-3 that was keeping them at bay, they would have flanked around everyone 4 minutes before that, you know. He's an idiot. But anyways, I didn't argue with him in game. I just shut up. I just told him, hey, I was trying to help the guy in the center. It ain't my fault you guys couldn't hold the right. There was enough of you over there. So anyways, I don't normally do this, but he pissed me off so much. I went to look at his stats. He's had the AT-15. He played a whole 10 games in it with a 40% win rate and 0.95 damage caused to received ratio. So yeah, he was going off online about how he had that tank and he knew how to play it and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, he's an idiot. He played 10 whole games and he knew how to play the tank. So anyways, this tank, I'm not that great at it. But I know that in a tier 9 game, I can't be frontlining this tank. There's too many weak spots. And obviously he didn't learn that in his whole 10 games in the tank. So yeah, I want to get by it. I am so... If I had this free XP without spending gold, if I had the free XP to get by it, I would free XP this tank. I really don't like it. But I told myself to just keep on, keep on grinding on. Eventually the tortoise will come, which even then has issues with the same thing. Certain places people know exactly where to pen it, and but I've always wanted the tortoise, so it's one of those things that I just been slow to get there. I really don't love this tank. I just doesn't do it for me. But I will keep on grinding through it because that's what good tankers do, right? Wargaming. Alright, then we go on to the next one. The next one is the Lurver, and you notice I don't have a crew in it, and there's no equipment on it because I don't play it that often. It's really a mediocre tank. It can do alright, but it's one of those tanks where you just can't... People see this tank and they think that, you should front line it. It just gets penned way too easy. It's just, if you know where to pen this tank, it's not reliable. But I think my kid's in there playing with the cupboard doors. But yeah, it's just not. I bought this tank way after I had a lot of other premiums. I just bought it because I didn't have it, and I just really don't play it that much. But I paid money for it, so there it sits. Tiger 2. I've kept this tank because it's a good tank. Side scrape with this thing, and you can have some pretty good games. You notice the crew, I still have a couple. I have a Sixth Sense trained, and I'm working on Brothers in Arms. I don't play it a lot. As you can see, there's no equipment on it, but when I do go to play it, I'm like, you really don't need the equipment. Screw it. I don't play it enough to bother to put equipment on it. If I was decided to play it a lot, I'd put equipment back on it, but it's a good enough tank that I didn't want to sell. I had some pretty good games in it, and so there it sits. I don't think it's the greatest tier 8 heavy, like a lot of people do, but it was good enough for me to keep, so there it sits. The Ramatom Borzig, the Ramalama Ding Dong, and my Reaper decal. I am the Reaper. You shall obey. You shall bow to my cannon. This thing is awesome. I never went up this line until the last 6 months or so, probably. Maybe a little bit longer than that. I just stayed right away from it. But then I decided, hey, I want to go up it. I'm glad I did, because this thing is a monster. This tank is... If you want an OP tank in this game, as long as you can stay back and just pound shells. You notice I have the long barrel because I want the accuracy and the penetration. I'll take the 150, 200 less damage every shot, but I'll put in twice as many shots because I won't miss. So yeah, this tank is just... Anyone that never went up this line, you should, because this tank is... Even if you stop here, this tank is worth it. This tank is awesome. You notice the crew isn't fully up there because I moved the crew out of this up to the next one, but I still have a decent enough crew in it that gets the job done. Awesome, awesome, awesome tank. FCM 50T. Had a few decent games in this too. The gun is very comparable to the Super Pershing, so if you have the Super Pershing, it's pretty much the same. A little bit more penetration, I think, than the Super Pershing. Both the same damage, both the same reload. A little bit better penetration. A lot worse armor. The armor on this is absolute trash. But if you play it like a medium and boot, scoot, and boogie around people, you can have some fun games in it. So I still get some equipment in it because I do play it every so often. Originally, I was training the crew for the French heavies, but I said screw the French heavies. When I got to the 5100, I tried to play that tank. People say it's such a great tank. Yeah. Again, it all depends on play style, I guess, but I hated the 5100, and they had that thing a while back, to help you get through it, the op for a month or whatever. Yeah, I couldn't even get through the 5100. That's how bad. Any tank that takes almost a minute to reload, I'm okay with the 40-second reload. I can handle the 44, 45, whatever it was. I can handle that. If my shots don't bounce, 3 of my 6 shots don't friggin' bounce. And it just seemed like the gun was so unreliable. It's a French gun. French guns, 6 shots will be 5 shots will be completely on target. Boom, boom, right down the center. The 6th one goes completely out of the reticle, off to the left, off to the right, hits the. It's just, you have to play. To me, it seemed like you had to play the 5100 as a, come right up, face hug someone or come around them, put your shells in them, run away. And I'm not good at that. That's light tank tactics. I'm not good at them. I just couldn't. Yeah, so needless to say, because I bought this to have the crew trainer for them, and I stopped playing them, I don't play this that often. So, but it's a fun tank on occasion to take out and zoom around the battlefield, put a shot here, take off, put a shot, take off. It's a really quick tank, really quick. This is the speed I wish that the T95E2 had, or even close to it, because this thing, it moves quick, it takes off quick, and it gets up to speed quick, and it turns quick. It's really good if that's the type of tank you like. So if you're looking for a Tier 8 premium, you want something that's really fast and quick and mobile, but not a lot of armor, this is a good one to pick. T-44 Russian medium. Russian medium. Tough tank, made out of much strong steel. A lot of people complain about ammo racks in this. I don't think I ever got ammo racked in this tank. At least it didn't bother me as much as some tanks do. And I don't think I ever had any of the ammo rack perks on this either. Maybe I just got lucky. I kept the tank because it's a pretty cool looking tank, and it can play decent. Had some pretty good games in it. Had some pretty bad games in it. But overall, I've thought of selling it a couple times because I don't ever play it. The gun rammer, or whatever it is there, gun lane, caliber gun rammer. Gun rammer, I got a mental note. That one right there is the gun rammer. It's still on it because you only get like 150 or 200,000 to take it off, and I was just like, eh. And if I ever play the tank, it just makes sense to keep it on there. So, but I haven't played this tank since I got the T-54. I've never gone back. You notice the crew's just a complete basement crew, and I haven't played it, from day one. It's just, I think I took the crew out of one of my lower, actually it's out of the Lurver, I think, if I remember correctly. When I moved up to the T-54, took the crew out of this, put it in that, and then I still wanted a crew in this because I haven't played it, so I just did the 75,000 deal, and I don't think I've played one game in it. So there it sits. I said, yeah, I'm going to keep that because it's a good tank, but not good enough to keep on playing. It doesn't compare to the British medium, in my opinion, at Tier 8. The Centurion's a much better tank, but that's just me, You could be much better in this tank. I just it was decent enough. I thought I wanted to keep it, but I don't know. It might not be here next time I do a Tier 8 video, that's for sure. Don't be surprised if it's gone. IS-6. Everyone loves the IS-6. IS-6, much strong Tier 8 premium Russian tank. Made of even stronger steel than T-54, and much more of it. My Russian sucks, I know. Obviously this is a Tier 8 premium, and this is the baddest Tier 8 premium. And baddest not meaning that it's the worst. Baddest meaning this is the badass Tier 8 premium. It's the funnest. It's the one when we go to play, hey, we need to play some Tier 8 premiums just to make a little bit of silver. I'm pretty much usually jumping this right off the bat because, it's just, the play style in it is just fun. It can bounce a heck of a lot of shots, and if played right, the gun does okay. It's not good for long distance, obviously. So when you see one of these sitting at the back of the map sniping, the person's an idiot. But fun tank. And the crew is down so low because I've pulled the crew out of this, I think 2 or maybe even 3 times and put them in tanks above it. So, but I keep on just retraining crews in it because it's just, I play it, not constantly, but I play it enough. It's fun enough to play. So there it sits, and don't be surprised when you see me out in it. IS-3, no crew in this right now because actually it's the crew that's in the IS-6 right now. I've been bebopping back and forth. I took it out of this, put it in that. because I play that more often. I figure, well, once I build it up, I'll stick it back in the IS-3, or if I ever want to play the IS-3, I can stick it back in. I like this tank. A lot of people, there's this thing going on, the op right now, going on to the IS-7. You see so many. The last week there's been, nothing to see. 4 of them on each team, 5 of them in each team. They have their pluses and minuses, but it was a keeper. It's a good tank. I like it, and it'll sit in the garage. I play it every once in a while, not very often, but it's. I haven't played it at all this past week or two because of the op, and I don't want to be one of those people that are trying to get through it, because I really don't need to. So, and there's so many of them out there, but I figured it's. I put a lot of time, effort, sweat, tears into this thing. It's definitely a keeper. KV5. I didn't buy this the first time around. The first time since I've been in the game. I think I've been in the game since like February of 2014. And it came up once, and I was like, I don't want that piece of shit. Why would I ever want that? And then like a year went by or whatever, and it came out again, and I was like, everyone has it. Everyone's buying it. There was a bunch of people I platoon up with on a regular basis that bought it, and I was like, something, I'll buy it. So I bought it, and for like a week, we just nonstop platooned up like 4 or 5 of us in these, and fun games were had by many. Well, at least many on our team. But yeah, anyone that has this knows that you think that, and it's true, the cupolas, the R2-D2 and everything, they're all penetrable pretty easy. But sometimes they can bounce. If your shell, even if you aim right at the middle, if your shell hits to the side, bounce off. So when RNG trolls you, and you're 100 meters away, and you aim right for that middle of that R2-D2, and it hits the edge of it and bounces off, you can bounce shots. But yeah, it's a novelty tank. I don't think I've played it. I think that's the crew that I had that came with it, and you can see it doesn't even have the repair skill done yet because, like I said, I played it there was an op that came with it the second time. I got the op finished, and I don't think I've played it since. But, having a YouTube channel, how can you not have it to at least review a little bit and play? So, that's where it sits. T-34-2, Chinese medium. Pretty much a T-44 for the most part. Plays a lot similar. But when I got this fully upgraded, it's I'm working my way through it right now. I'm at 53,000 XP, and it's not bad. It has its moments. Not enough gun depression, but it's quick enough to get around the field. It's quick enough to flank. So the gun's good enough. It's not bad. I rate it right along with the T-44. It's not my favorite, but still, it's not horrible. So we're going to finish playing up through it. I'm not going to skip it. Of course, I should say that when I get to the end and I have 10,000 left, I'll probably skip the last 10,000 because that's how I am. But we keep 31 regular shells in it, 12 premium and 2 high explosive, because sometimes you just want to explode one on the side of something you can't penetrate. But yeah, overall, the tank's not a bad tank. I wasn't going to go up the Chinese medium, but I went through the Chinese heavy and got up there, so why not do the Chinese medium? Right? Right. The 112. Doesn't have a crew in it because I've been switching the crew with the 110. Or actually, what the hell did I do with the 112 crew? Now I'm lost. I wonder if I got rid of the crew by mistake. Because I was bebopping the crew back and forth between the 112 and the 110. Well, I'll have to figure that one out later. The 112. I had to do something with them because I was just playing this tank the other night. I just played it like last night and I had a crew in it then. I must have made a mistake. Or I don't know what I did with it. Maybe I was really tired last night and I went to swap it back, and instead of swapping it, I dismissed it by mistake. Oh, great. That's what had to have happened, because I have crews for all my upper tier and my other Chinese. It had to have. That sucks. Unless it's this crew. Did I mess with this crew? Maybe it is. Let's just see. Reassign. Sign for free. 110. No, it's not. I messed up. I must have got rid of my crew by mistake. God Damn it. That's what happens when you play so you're so tired you can't even pay attention. Ugh, here I am frustrated with the game, people. Alright, anyways, 112. Tier 8, Chinese, heavy. That I fucking got rid of the crew by mistake. Ugh. Alright. I can't get past it. I'm just so ticked off right now. Breathe, Bump. Breathe. Not a bad tank. Has its moments of the hull really letting you down. I played a game in it, like I said, last night, and a tank penetrated my turret right above where it swivels up and down there. And I was like, how? And he wasn't above me either. He was like level or maybe even below me. And I'm like, how the hell is he penning me right there? So it has its moments of not standing up to what it should stand up to. But it's a lot like the IS-6 with not as good armor. But what you can do is the hull's the turret's a little bit better than the IS-6. So usually, because of the roundness of the turret and everything else, usually you'll bounce shells like that. But for some reason, twice a guy, I think one penned me on the cupola to the right of where we're looking right now, and the other one hit, I think he was aiming for that, but hit right above where my gun swivels and penned me right there. And I was like, what? He had to be at like this angle. How did he pen that? You would think that would be an auto bounce, the angle it's at. I mean, look how sloped that is. I don't know. Maybe he hit that very little lip right there. No idea, but it penned me, and I was so ticked off last night. So, yeah, the 112, though, it plays a lot like the IS-6, really, but a little bit better if you're hull down. You can actually sit back a couple hundred meters with this, go hull down, and shoot instead of face hugging, which is more the IS-6 style. So, but if you get face hugging with this, people can shoot down into that armor pretty easily. So, yeah, it's comparable, but I don't think it's as good as the IS-6 personally. 110. The 110 is basically the IS-3 of the Chinese line. I've kept it because I had some pretty good games in it, and it did its job. I don't love the tank. As you can see, there's no equipment in it or anything else. It's there. And I haven't played it. I had been moving the crew back and forth. You know, every once in a while I'll play it, and then I put it in the 112, and then I kept the crew, and I'd play one game every so often. And you notice there's no XP in it because, like I said, the last time I had 40,000 XP or 20,000, I took it out and I haven't played it since. But it's, if you like the IS-3, it's comparable to it. I think it's a little bit taller than the IS-3, so it kind of a little bit harder to hide yourself behind hills and stuff. And the gun depression and everything else is awful similar to the IS-3, so it's just not great. But it can have decent games, and if you want to go up the Chinese heavy line, well, you got to go through this. So there it is. And that's my tier 8 line. That's, even with me being frustrated at the end, I don't know what I did with that crew. And it wasn't a great crew. I think it had 2 skills done and working on the third. So it definitely was not something I wanted to get rid of. I can't think of any... Sitting there trying to think of any Chinese tank I might have moved it to, but I don't have any. Well, life goes on, right? Just that. But boys and girls, let this be a lesson. Maybe not all of you get so brain dead like I do at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning when you're so tired you can't keep your eyes open. Yeah. Pay attention to which buttons you hit, because apparently I hit the wrong one last night. And, you know, when you hit the wrong one, usually there's no recourse. Hope you enjoy the video. Comment, rate, subscribe, thumbs up, thumbs down. And, yeah, remember, when you're on the battlefield, shoot the red ones.